let's get right into it. Why did you decide to run?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate this. So for me, I always start from my lived experience in Atlanta. I'm born and raised here.
Okay.
Crawford Lawn, Crawford Lawn, baby. And if you're from here, that whole thing in terms of Crawford Lawn and Grady, baby. I grew up in the East Atlanta area. My mom was a single mom raising 4 children of her own and 2 cousins that became pseudo brother and pseudo sisters. But my mother is the oldest of 13, and have always instilled in us where we give back. We take care of, we're a big family. And so community is family. People that look like you, children that look like us, that's family. And so from early on, she's always had us out in just helping. Service is our currency. And the Collins legacy, she's been very clear. My mother's still alive. Was very clear about service being our currency and being the legacy of being a Collins, Collins.
How was that when your mother was like, when you told your mom, I'm about to do the city council thing?
I'm already elected. So, I sit on the school board. I was elected to the Atlanta Board of Education in 2013. I represent the complete south side of the city, which is District 6.
Can we clap it up one time for that? Like, we're not going to act like she didn't just say that. Like, she not from the east side. And come on, let's do this.
So my community has elected me 3 times. I've been on the school board for 11 years, and 6 of those years I served as vice chair and chair of the board. And even how I got into that space is that I've always been in the community, always been an advocate. And so when the previous board pretty much people decided they weren't going to run again, the community felt at that time we needed a leader that knew the work, that was really about making sure our voices are being heard, that had the training and skill set to sit at the table and truly be a voice for those that are often marginalized. And because I've been doing this work, even as a former teacher in Atlanta public schools, I decided to run for office. So I represent the complete south side of the city in the education space. And so this is actually run for city council. This is my largest race, but this is my 5th race.
Understood. I see a lot, even with like state races. I always tell you, I said, these are like educator races. I said, because I see a lot of educators showing up, and I see a lot of people with the educational background, and even the messages that you just hear now, I think they just resonate more because education is in front of everybody now, right? Especially like with artificial intelligence and how does that play a role? And what advice would you give a family who's trying to understand like the future landscape of education, especially here in Atlanta? What do they have to look forward to? What should they be looking out for? How do you feel?
Yeah, that's a really good question because there is so much at stake. There are so in Atlanta. Atlanta is a space. Atlanta is a city that can be a national model on a good end and the bad end, right?
That's fair.
And so I'll start with the good side of things where you have such deep diversity and cultural diversity. You're able to, one thing I love coming back to my city, even when I became a lawyer, I worked in DC for a while, and then I came back home about 16 years ago. One thing I love about Atlanta is that you can do whatever you want and be whatever you want in this city. And you have people, you have ecosystems, you have support that's going to help you do that. Right?
Indeed.
But then on the flip side of that, you have to make sure it's equitable. You have to make sure opportunities are afforded to everyone. No matter where you live in this city, no matter your income, no matter the factors of your lived experience, everybody should be able to have access to the same experience, to be able to take advantage and build the life that they want in this city.
Indeed.
And so I would tell families in this space to think, like, dream big, because Atlanta, you can truly do that.
Agree.
But also understand with that becomes the ground game, the footwork, the commitment to see through that, because we do have large systems of inequities, right? We are number one for income inequality, meaning that we have.
And hold that right there. Let's go further into it, because I read something where I don't want to quote numbers because the discrepancy was huge. I mean, it might have been focused around businesses. I think the average black business was 65,000, and I think white businesses might have been 750,000, something like that. Are these numbers true, or is this like statistics? But is this
No,
what we're really looking at?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you think about, so in terms of I don't know the exact numbers, but in terms of the profit share and the capital that businesses bring in, absolutely, it is that disparity. It is that disparity there, and so you have to ask yourself, well, what are the factors that are causing that disparity, right? And then you get into the generational conversations. A lot of businesses, white businesses, it's tracked. You have there's records of easier access to loans, more generational wealth where families are able to make a loan to kickstart a program. A lot of businesses with successful business will pass down. For many of us, we're in an entrepreneur era where we're starting it.
Very first time.
Like for me and my sisters, my mother was a working class woman. 9 to 5. She retired from AT&T, but she started when it was Southern Bell, just working class. And so for us, my siblings and I, we're the first in our family to do everything. So think about the generational jump, right? If you're coming from a family where business ownership has been in your family for multiple generations, and you're the first one to kick it off, then there are some things that can widen that gap, opportunity gap, what we call it.
And kind of left unattended, I guess it just keeps growing and keeps growing. I will say, one thing about the city of Atlanta, I've been here, like I told you, maybe closer to 20 years now. And this is a place where dreams come true. Everything you said, I agree with. It is. I think it is. I think Atlanta people, we leave and we get homesick, and it's weird. We're both from up north, but it's like, even my son, he'll be in New York and he's like, I'm ready to go back home. I'm like, we only been here 2 days, right? But I think where you see some deficits, to your point, is that, these are a lot of first-time entrepreneurs. Going to get capital is a little bit more complex than it should be, right? I see a lot of games where you see people advocating, people like yourself who are like, they're at the forefront and they're telling the truth about what needs to happen. For a young entrepreneur that's looking for a way ahead, what would you recommend for someone like that, a young entrepreneur and we know it's a complex situation? How should they be navigating it? Where should they be going, looking, things like that?
Yeah, before I answer that, I do want to uplift a point that you made about the opportunities in Atlanta, but you also got to layer it with, and keep it have a 100th conversation with you. You also have to layer it with systems of, honestly, you really have to discrimination, undergirdle of discrimination and inequities that haven't been afforded to people of color. In my work as a civil rights attorney, it is just that, working and fighting to remove those barriers, so we just have a chance, to thrive. And that is not taken. That it's not a either or. It's not taken from someone. It is truly a collective, inclusive conversation where we all can get at this together. We all can have. We all should be able to be afforded the opportunity to have the piece of the pie, basically. So for the young entrepreneur, what I love about my city, what I'm saying,
that's your camera right there. Look right in that camera and drive that point home.
Yeah, the one thing I love about Atlanta and love about my city is that there are ecosystems and there are groups and there are resources that are available to you to thrive and to be educated on the business that you want to make, to have those skill sets of planning, investment dollars. All of those things are here in Atlanta. So that's available. What you do need, though, you do need a leader. You need a leader to help remove. You can have access to them so you don't get tired and frustrated of feeling like you're running the circle, because you have an elected leader, your city council representative, that is making it easy for you to access the opportunity. And all we need for you we open up the door. All I need for you to do is walk in it, walk through it. And so that's why I'm running for city council, just for that reason. I've been very clear about, for me, it is continuing. And I say continue because I've been fighting for an Atlanta that thrives for all of us, even sitting as a school board member. And even as we talk about the interconnectedness of education and the plight of how we live in this city. But I've been very clear about the reason why I'm running for city council is continuing to fight for a city that thrives for all of us. No matter where you live in this city, no matter how much money you make, no matter your family structure, we should all have the opportunity to thrive in the city that we love. The city when you go someplace else, you're homesick, right? And so what does that mean for us? Like, what does that look like for us? That's making sure we can all afford to live in this city. And that means making sure that, I'm sorry about that.
It's all good. It's all good. We can always cut that. It's all good.
And so that
told y'all she busy.
That means that means making sure that we all are able to live in this city affordably, and it goes beyond just affordable housing. I'm saying affordable living, period. Where things are costly at a point where we all can afford to take advantage of it.
Things have got a little out of control on the prices, and we would have to say that. And nobody's.
And housing is only a part of it, but when you think about the scales of economy, period, there is a lot that we can lean in as your local leaders to either help fund, supplement, provide additional opportunities. We should be able to thrive in this city and all have access to safe and healthy communities.
Let's hope. So what happened to where that's not the model right now? Like, the challenges. Let's say the challenges. How did we get to these challenges?
How did we get to? Everybody started coming here.
She kept it real, right? She kept it real too.
Seriously, Atlanta became is a city of choice. It's a number one place for where people love is number one place. And so when you have the influx of population that we've seen and you have not planned for it, right? You haven't planned for it. There are certain things that happen that can slide through the cracks, and that is one of real estate investment, right? The basic rule of supply and demand. When the demand is high but the supply is low, what typically happens? The prices go up.
So we need to build more.
Yes, build more or provide build more, but also provide support more. Support more.
Is it kind of like what Kamala Harris is recommending with the 25,000
for home buying,
something like that? It'll be programs like that.
We have them in place now where you have home buying programs here in Atlanta. We have the biggest piece is not so much of the home buying pieces that we hear a lot about that, but you also got to think about protecting the residents that are currently here in the city. And what we are seeing is two communities are heavily impacted the most. A community that are young, with young families that can't afford to live in this city. And I've experienced that as a school board member, where our conversation changed to where we had to talk to the city. We had to talk to entities on affordable housing because we're doing so much great work to try to address some generational issues like our literacy crisis, like our social emotional learning of our development of our students, and I represent an area that's impacted by all of them. I would literally go to certain neighborhoods and streets and to knock on the door and let a family know we finally have this program ready for your child, and they're no longer there because they couldn't afford to live in the city, so they moved outside the city. So our conversation started changing to, well, what are we doing? How are we working collectively together to provide affordable options for our families so the kids that we want to benefit from this great work are able to stay in the city to do it, right?
Indeed.
So you have that group, that population that's been heavily impacted. And then you have our legacy residents.
Right.
Our older,
That's what I'm noticing in my neighborhood.
Yes, absolutely. You're in Westview, right?
Westview, I'm noticing. But literally, my neighbor to my right and my left, they've been there maybe even 3 houses down, 30, 40 years.
Absolutely. And they own their homes.
And they own their houses, and I'm watching them.
The best way to do. Right. They own their homes faring.
But I see a lot of people coming after those houses.
Yes, because the value of their homes are so have increased, and is what you want. But their property taxes have increased as a result of it. And so what happens is when you're on a limited income or you're a retiree that is on a fixed income, every dollar counts.
Yeah.
And so that's the second population that we're seeing being heavily impacted in this space. And so
that's the family, ain't it?
Yeah. And
if you got grandma can't afford it and the young family can't afford it,
absolutely.
And you saying Atlanta is for everybody, but the two people, the young ones that's going to keep growing the family, and the older ones who's supposed to stabilize the family can't be there.
Yeah.
It's to your point.
Exactly. And so then you have us in the middle, right, where we're able to still work, we're able to still earn wages, but we also got to think about what our lives are going to be like as we age.
Indeed.
Right? Indeed. And we also got to think about the community, the community and the holistic community that we want to have of new families coming into our community too.
Yeah.
Right? Because that keeps the vibrancy of what makes the
keep
community.
It nice and layered, right?
Yeah.
Keep it nice and layered.
That's the beautifulness of Atlanta, where you can go into different neighborhoods and you can see the families walking down the street. But we also have communities that have died out, and you go and it's vacant and it's blighted. It becomes ripe for the picking for investors. And so we have to think about all of those pieces. We have to think about all of those pieces in city government, and it's very important that we have city leadership that understand those issues, that are thinking big picture, that is thinking about, okay, how can we do this differently? How can we be more innovative in supporting our families? What do we need to do? How can we invest dollars to protect our younger families that we want to stay in this city, and also take care of our legacy residents that helped us build this city?
Indeed.
And so that's what the important part of this city council seat, because it's an at-large seat, it's a citywide seat.
And explain to people what that means, at large.
Yeah. So this is the educator in me.
Yeah. I'm ready. Listen.
So your
Atlanta, and this is student in me. Look, go ahead.
Your Atlanta City Council is comprised of 16 members. Your city council president, which is Doug Shipman, 12 district members, and so they're all over their respective districts, and then you have 3 at-large seats, and your 3 at-large seats are citywide seats, meaning that this seat will be on everyone's ballot. And the balance there is that your at-large seats are just for those large, for large issues. They touch every corner of the city. And then you have your district seats that really truly just think about they tackle and help support the issues and great work of a particular area.
I follow you.
And so the collectiveness in that, in which I'm really excited about this opportunity, I have, this vision of how, in my role as an at-large member, I can continue to push the big pieces of the work that needs to happen in city council. And it's my hope that my commitment and work will at least be able to support what my 12 colleagues on city council are doing for their respective districts.
Understood.
So what Councilwoman Overstreet may need support in on a southwest side may look very different from what Jason Winston on the east side may need, right?
Okay.
But you also have at-large members and representation that can help make those, make those things together.
So you guys are kind of like power lifters.
It could be,
right? You go in places and we provide that support citywide.
But I also say collaborators, through and through, and so I think that's what provides a lot of opportunity for this role and for the person that's running for the seat. It's 5 of us in the race.
Yeah.
It's 5 of us in the race. I am the only candidate in the race that have the level of governance experience, current elected official, really tackling deep issues in the city on the school system side. But those are so transformed. They marry so much of the work and the issues that we're facing in the city that it is a good. It is Indeed. A good alignment.
I want to touch on something you brought up with education. We're going to go back just a little bit. School choice.
Yes.
Right. We are trying to understand school choice. Right. I have neighbors that ask about it. I have friends. So just give us a quick, breakdown of school choice and what to look forward to the next school years.
Yeah. So quick question, in your community, are people more into school choice or?
Well, I'm getting mixed.
I'm
getting mixed reviews. Right. So some people who already send their children to private school, like my son, the question becomes how do you access the funding and things like that. Some people who are already in public schools, they talk about losing funding and how that plays a part in taking resources out the community, things like that. So again, we're just kind of in the middle, and I think it comes from just not really understanding too much what it is.
I start here with Atlanta Public Schools. We have the largest number of locally approved charter schools in the state.
Okay.
We have historically been we have school choice in the district. Okay. And so school choice in the district is one of, if you, and it has its limitations. So I put that there. We are an open choice school district, meaning if there's a school that you want to send your child to, you can in fact do that if the school has a capacity.
Understood.
If there's vacancies at that school, you will have to, if it's outside of your zone school, you'll have to be responsible for, transportation and getting your child there.
Yeah.
But we are an open choice school district
right now.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So every February, there is a list that go out of all of our schools that have vacancies in them.
Yeah.
And you can do, it's open enrollment. It's exactly what it is. It's open enrollment where you can, if you want to send your child there, you want to apply for your child to go to that school, you can.
Yeah.
And that is also for our charter schools as well.
Okay.
So that's one piece. I think what often gets confused is people understanding how schools in the city come to be. Mm-hmm. There are two ways that three. There's three ways that schools can actually open up in a district. You have your traditional schools. So the school system decides, hey, we want to open up a new school in this, in this area. If you're a charter school, you have two paths. You can become a charter school. You can apply locally through the district, or you can apply locally through the state. Mm-hmm. Most charter operators choose to apply locally because there's state law that the funding is more. You do, in fact, get more funding on a local base, particularly in Atlanta, because the way the formula goes, it is based on the revenue that the school system actually has.
I get you.
So that is one way. If the school system denies that charter application, not more than 9 times out of 10, that charter operator chooses to apply through the state.
Okay.
And then that process goes through the state board, and then the state board of ed can decide to approve that charter school.
Okay, I got you.
And then, of course, the third way is if you're a private school or, a money source school or something like that, you can apply on your own through the state to open your school.
I got you.
So the conversation with school choice and,
how do you feel about it?
So I've always been, I'm charter neutral. Because I am for great schools, period.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
I am for great schools, period.
My wife's gonna love that. That's how she is.
No matter, I feel my role as a school board member is not to decide where you choose to send your children to school and what school is the best school. Mm-hmm. My role and my advocacy and my fight is to ensure that all of our schools are great, so that you can truly decide what's the best fit for your child.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to this conversation, if you're pro or anti, I am pro great schools, period.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah.
We haven't, since I've been on the board, we haven't opened up a new charter school. We've reapproved like our KIPS, our Kendezis. We have our partnership schools with purpose
built. And that's also highlight that under your leadership, the schools have improved.
Yeah,
Let's be clear, because you ain't throwing out your stats, but it's my job to do that.
Yeah,
things are improving under your leadership.
Exactly. And I tell everyone, things are improving for sure. Are we fully there yet? No, we're not.
Right.
Because you're also asking us to repair literally 4 to 5 generations of education issues. And I was only, and I moved the needle in the 10-year period. And that was a personal commitment. I knew that when I started, when I leave office, the class that would graduate were first graders when I started. So I was able to track everything, and we did big things every single year. Every single year we were doing something big to educate our children differently.
Yeah.
We changed funding of our schools to be based on student need.
Yeah.
We acknowledged that we have a literacy crisis. And so we created a policy, funded retraining teachers. We did a huge compensation strategy that took us 6 years to finally get our teachers to a competitive salary this year. Yeah. One of the last things that I'm really proud that the board supported before I rolled off as chair, we turned our vacant properties that we knew we no longer use used, we put into a land trust, and we're working with the city to develop that into affordable housing. So it's one of those conversations where, I shared with you earlier, where I saw the issue of we're having, families that are leaving. We're now
addressing the left behind families.
We're being a part of the solution, which is new for a school district. You see it in Virginia. California is doing it in some spaces, but traditionally you never had school systems to get into housing development. So we're in a different time.
I would call that a very disruptive approach to how you do things, and I think that I commend you and the rest of the leadership, because again, a lot of times we can complain and do things, but I watch the school board races. I see people, I'm like, y'all, you got to show up. You have to show up to the PTA. Like my wife was part of the PTA. I always bring that up because I watched her. She watched something and she's like, I'm gonna join the PTA. So I think more of that, people advocating for themselves and connecting with the leaders in the community to get an understanding. So I like that you took the time out to come sit with us. I do want to ask you this question on all serious note. When I invite you to my house on Thanksgiving, what are you gonna bring?
So I try to, in full transparency.
It's not a serious thing,
No. It's one dish.
One dish, whatever you're going to bring.
Well, 2 dishes I know how to make well. That is sweet potato souffle. And on a good day, I can make a really good pound cake.
Pound cake.
So I like to so those are the 2 things that I would bring.
Okay.
My third would be mac and cheese.
Yeah.
But sometimes
is it multiple cheeses or one cheese?
It's multiple cheeses, but sometimes it's hit or miss.
Well, hold on. You can't do that because I had experience. No, listen.
It's either the right moisture or I'm doing a million things and I let it over bake and it's dry.
Listen, we had a couple experiences in our Thanksgiving. One time somebody brought the mac and cheese. I said, I don't know who did this, but you bought this from somebody and you let it sit out and it was dry. And then the next time, somebody didn't even show with the mac and cheese. The whole house was waiting. And this person told us, I just can't bring it, y'all. And I was like, oh
man, right.
So mac and cheese, as I said, mac and cheese is a serious role. We have to have a group meeting. Let me ask you this. What is your soundtrack to get your day going as a community leader? Is it Future? Is it Sierra? Is it gospel? What is it?
I love that question because in my next life, if I didn't go this path, I love music. So I have everybody's like, Eshé, send me your playlist because it's everything. It's
I want that playlist.
It's old school. It's rock. It's Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, okay.
It's it's everything. Neo soul, whatever you imagine. So I would say, and I said if I never went this path, I probably would have been like an A&R, A&R, somebody in the industry. So
what's that playlist like? What are you playing?
So I'm a fan of Mary J. Blige, so I can start with like Mary J. Blige, Just Fine, or Be Happy. Just like it's rocking. Right now, gosh, what is the song? Because I love it. Because and the kids know it. They surprised I like
R&B?
it. But it's rap. It's rap. It's artist Young Nudie.
Oh yeah.
And it's his new. Oh no, it's the newest song.
I'm sorry, we just keep it at 100.
It's the newest song. But yeah, I do that. I love Travis Scott.
Yeah, indeed.
So it's music like that gets me going.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, so let me ask you, if we're talking classic sitcoms, would it be like Living Single?
Oh, Martin. Martin is on.
Oh, you're a Marty Marr fan, huh?
I love it. Martin.
What's your favorite episode of Martin? Aaliyah, I know yours already. Is when he playing that piano and get hit over the head with that beer.
Yes, on the vacation. So yeah, I like Martin, Living Single, Amen.
Amen. Oh yeah.
Yeah, remember Amen?
Yeah, I remember Amen. And Living Single, that was my joint.
Different World and Girlfriends. That's what I've been on lately.
Oh yeah.
That's what, my late nights. That's what it keeps me up.
Yeah.
My favorite episode of Martin, as you can imagine, as a lawyer, was the episode when he got the parking ticket. Well, he got the speeding ticket.
Oh yeah.
And he went to court trying to defend himself. Yeah. And he at the end because he know what he was doing at the end of the day, he literally lost his mind. And that of course that would be my favorite episode.
That's a good one. Well, let me ask you this.
And the second one, is when he found out his mom was being scammed by Reverend Leon.
Aaliyah, that's the one you like. You be watching that one.
Reverend Leon Love.
Yeah.
But David Allen Greer. I would say those are my two favorite Martin episodes.
That's a funny one. Let me ask you this. If you were to be stuck on an island by yourself, what would be the movie you would have to have if it was only one movie you could have and you're on this island by yourself? One movie.
On the island by myself, the one movie.
Can you put the little timer like do?
Yeah, let's see. The first one that comes to mind is Shawshank Redemption.
Oh man, that's one of my favorite.
Yeah, like
that one right there, heavy.
Yeah,
That one
like
is heavy.
at the end of the day, when everything seems like it's falling apart, just keeping hope and working it.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah, I would say Shawshank Redemption and I like Life.
We just watched that. He just watched Mayora. Remember we just watched Life together with Martin?
Yeah.
You like that movie, right?
Yeah. I think it's another one that just kind of, you go through a time period of just the plight of the plight and the equities of being
resilient.
Yeah, resilient, wrongfully incarcerated, and and we as a people finding, humor and family and community.
Life gets you kind of emotional.
Yeah.
If you really watching Life, it's funny, but once it get to that part,
when they start disappearing.
That's the part. I was just watching it with him, and I'm like, I felt a little. I was like, because I'm like, this is real though. It's a joke, but they took that. It can be it's very funny, but it's also super emotional, especially for people who have dealt with those situations in their family.
And it's not. I've just thought about like those are two movies like based on like the justice system and and
Shawshank Redemption, the same one, because that's like, buddy, you had to go through that wall, and he like, I didn't do it.
Not giving up.
Yeah, not giving up.
I
guess I would say like Castaway. If I say Stuck on the Island, you ever seen Castaway?
That's
a good one too.
Wilson,
yeah. He had to get free. So let me ask you, Nicki Minaj or Cardi B?
Ooh, I'm a Cardi B girl.
Rihanna or Beyonce?
Ooh, so I'm gonna go with Rihanna because we have the same birthday.
Kamala or Donald Trump?
You know it's Kamala. Kamala all day.
I keep saying it wrong, but I'm not doing it on purpose.
No,
okay.
Accent. I love it.
All right. And if it was anything you could do to leave the world better than you found it, what would you do?
I like that question because that is a question. Actually, if I got that's a question that's a question my mom instilled in us. At the end of the day. If being proud of the way you made the world better. So the way I answer that is, I tell this to the camera, I may not ever meet you, but through my acts of service and giving back, if you feel your life is easier, that's what my fight and what I've been able to do every day is making the lives easier for people that I may never meet, that we may never paths may cross, but my energy and universe knows that you are loved, and there are people that love you even though I may never meet you, and you have someone fighting for you that want you to have a better life. And so if you feel that your life is easier and your family is able to thrive in this city, is because you have a leader knowing that, we may never meet, but I love you.
That's beautiful. And we're going to wrap it up. I want you to look at that camera. Hold on. I actually have one more thing to ask you.
Okay.
I have to. Who is the greatest soul singer of all time?
Greatest soul singer of all times.
In your opinion?
Soul. I only can choose one.
I'll let you choose two. But it was really
soul singer.
So I'm talking about
not R&B soul, but like classic soul.
So it could be, don't matter what race, don't matter what genre, don't matter what gender. We just saying soul. Ali, I know you're gonna say Whitney Houston. So no, I'm not. Who you gonna say?
We're gonna let her answer.
Is Whitney Houston soul or R&B?
Is he got Whitney soul? Whitney is definitely soul, in my opinion. Whitney is definitely soul.
Whitney R&B. She'd be like one of my.
Almost pop.
Oh, you really is it?
Really, you don't think Whitney is soul?
I would say,
those are great songs, but
I put her with R&B and soul.
Aretha Franklin is a soul singer.
Yeah,
but I mean, you don't think she was inspired to sing soul?
Yeah. No. So I'm gonna say soul. This may be a little controversial.
Yeah.
I love James Brown. And Al Green. Aretha Franklin, of course.
But you only got 2.
I know, and I gave you 3.
Those are 3 really good ones. Yeah, those are 3 really good ones. You ain't say Donny Hathaway, but it's fine.
Donny, as I said, like, it's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough.
So
but for me, it was for me, my first, when you asked me off the rip, was Curtis Mayfield.
That's a good one.
Curtis Mayfield and Al Green.
That's it. We were just watching Al Green.
Really?
It's
look at this.
My son, I was just trying to get him because he was playing the Weeknd music, and I was like, the Weeknd is good. I love him. He got great music. I said, but I got to dig. So I showed him a video of Al Green, and he was like, he started mocking it, but I think he was into it. So look at that camera and let them know why they should vote for you come November 5th for City Council.
It's extremely important that Atlanta elects someone in this seat in a pivotal time that we are in a city that has the experience, that has the proven track record, that is able to not only talk about the work, but show you how to get the work done. Atlanta deserves a leader that is day one ready. You elect me on November 5th. If I'm sworn in on November 6th, I am ready to go. I've been at this I'm sitting at the table currently. I've been at the table, and it's extremely important that you know you have a leader that has the experience, that has the culture, that has the love for this city to lead this city into the next phase of what we know is going to be great. I am Eshé Collins, honored to be running for the Post 3 seat on Atlanta City Council, the only candidate in this race with experience. And as we vie for your vote, understand our campaign is your interview, is our interview to you. And when you think about the person that you want in the seat, you think about what the experience that you want that person to have. What are the things that they're going to do that's going to benefit you and your family and your lives? Hold us accountable for that. This is not a seat where you cut your teeth. This is not for someone that this was an afterthought. You have someone in this race, and the only person in this race that can show you how we how we managed a $1.6 billion budget, can show you how we fought to make sure our legacy residents and our families are being protected, that can walk you through a compensation strategy to where now we have a workforce that is able to afford to live in this city. That matters, Atlanta. And that is why I am asking for your vote and your support in this election starting October 15th, which is early voting, and election day is November 5th. You have a person that's going to continue, not start, but continue to fight for an Atlanta that thrives for all of us. And that is me, Eshé Collins. Thank you so much.
And there you have it, another episode of Politics and Black Families. Peace.
Thank you.